Welcome to the workshop at the Concord Free Public Library. My name is Christy and I'm here today to show you how to safely operate the workshop sewing machine. Let's start with the safety notes. This tool has moving parts that may catch on loose objects or materials. Before using the tool, tie back long hair and remove any loose jewelry and accessories wherever possible. The needle on this machine is very sharp and can break if it becomes bent by you or by someone who used the machine before you. To help prevent injury, be sure to keep your fingers clear of the needle mechanism. The wearing of eyeglasses or safety glasses is not required for the use of this tool, but it is strongly recommended in case of a needle break. In case of any injury, call 911 immediately and notify staff. A first aid kit is also available at the workshop's front desk in case of an emergency. And a quick reminder, this is an expert maker's tool, which means that in addition to this training video, each and every maker operating the machine will need to complete a safety waiver, which covers the use of all our expert maker's tools for 1 year. Minors under the age of 18 will need a parent or a guardian to help them complete this form, which you can fill out entirely online at cfpl.info/waiver. Additionally, expert makers under the age of 10 must be accompanied by another expert maker at least 13 years of age. Now let's take a look at materials. All makers are welcome to take fabric, thread, and other materials from our swap boxes. But if you use the machine regularly or for a large project, we ask all makers to help us keep the workshop free and accessible to everyone by either bringing your own supplies from home or donating to help cover the cost of supplies, about $8 per spool of thread and about $15 per yard of fabric. The basic needle and presser foot on the machine are good for most standard stitches on regular weight fabrics like quilting cotton. But if you're working with heavier or lighter fabrics like denim or tulle, or using one of the machine's decorative stitches, you'll need to consult the full manual to determine the correct presser foot and needle for your project, and follow the directions to change them. One needle costs the library about $5 and must be replaced after every 10 hours of use. Okay, let's get making. Start by making sure that the sewing machine is plugged into power and to a foot control, which should sit on the floor below your workstation. Turn the machine on with the switch above the plugs on the right-hand side of the machine. Next, take out the stitching guide from the small drawer at the bottom of the machine. This quick reference lists all the stitch numbers and provides diagrams of how to thread the machine. If you're used to hand sewing, you might not realize that sewing machines actually use 2 lines of thread to create stitches. A top thread, which is wound on a standard spool you might find at a craft store and feeds down from the top of the machine, and a bobbin thread, which is wound on a special tiny spool just for this machine and feeds up from the bottom of the machine. Some companies do sell pre-threaded bobbins, but these are much more likely to jam or damage the machine, so we ask all makers to use only bobbins that have been wound on our machines. To get started, slide a standard spool of thread onto the spool pin at the top of the sewing machine so that it unspools towards you. Next, wrap the thread counterclockwise around the bobbin tension disc and back towards the right side of the machine. Grab an empty bobbin and thread it by feeding the thread through one of the holes in the bobbin from the inside to the outside. Place the bobbin on the small metal spindle on the right side of the machine so that the loose thread faces up towards you. Push the spindle to the right so it sets into place, then hold the loose end of thread up away from the mechanism and gently push down on the foot control. Let the bobbin spin until a few layers of thread have formed, then release the foot control and trim the excess thread. Now push down on the foot control again, and this time let it spin until the bobbin is completely full. You can increase or decrease the speed of the machine by sliding the speed control switch on the front of the machine. Slide the bobbin spindle back to the left, trim the thread, and remove the filled bobbin. Now we can finish threading the top thread. Take the thread out of the bobbin tension disc and check to make sure that you can see the thread take-up lever, this silver piece, in the left side slot on the machine. If you can't, just turn the knob on the side of the machine towards you until you can. Now hook the thread around the top of the upper thread guide and pull it down towards you through the right side slot in the front of the machine. Hook the thread back up the left side slot around the thread take-up lever so that it catches, then back down the left side slot one more time towards the needle. Now hook the thread under the lower thread guide at the top of the needle. You can either hand thread the needle from front to back, or you can pull down the needle threader using the white tab at the left of the needle. Run the thread under the plastic hooks on the threader from left to right, then push the threader back up into the machine to pull the thread through the needle. Use your fingers to tug the thread the whole way through to the back. We're almost ready to start sewing. Now it's time to thread the bobbin. On the plate below the needle, slide the black plastic switch to the right to release the clear plastic bobbin cover and put it to the side. If an old bobbin is still in the machine, remove it, then place your bobbin in the slot so that it unwinds counterclockwise. Hook the bobbin thread around the front metal notch and draw it to the left until it catches in the second metal notch. On the right-hand side of the machine, turn the knob towards you until a loop of the bobbin thread is pulled up to the top of the sewing plate. Pull the thread the rest of the way to the top of the sewing plate, leaving a few inches of tail towards the back of the machine. Replace the plastic bobbin cover. It's finally time to start stitching. Slide your fabric under the needle and the presser foot. If your needle is lowered, you can press the raise needle button on the front of the machine to move it out of the way. Now press down the presser foot lever to the right of the needle so the presser foot is holding your fabric in place. Since you're starting with 2 threads rather than a knot the way you might when hand sewing, to start or end a standard line of stitches, you'll want to stitch about an inch forward, an inch backward, then an inch forward again to lock your stitches into place. Keep your fingers on the edges of your fabric away from the needle to help guide it as you press down on the foot control, but don't push or pull at the fabric. The machine will automatically feed the fabric forward. When you have about an inch of stitches, release the foot control and press the reverse button on the front of the machine to change the direction. Press the foot control down again to stitch back over your initial stitches, then press the reverse button again to switch back to the regular direction and continue stitching across your fabric. When you reach the end of a line of stitches, repeat this process, reversing back over the last inch of your stitches, then stitching forward over them one more time. Raise the machine needle if it isn't already, and pull up on the presser foot lever to release the hold on the fabric. Use thread snips or the built-in thread cutter behind the machine head to cut your fabric free. Congratulations, you're now an expert maker. If you want to learn more about everything our sewing machine can do, including nearly 400 different stitch patterns, you can find the complete manual in print in our pattern library or on our website at cfpl.info/sewing manual, or visit burnett.com for more information and tutorials direct from the manufacturer. The workshop is made possible by the generous support of the Concord Free Public Library Corporation, a nonprofit organization supported by makers like you. Learn more about all the corporation does to make our library awesome and how you can help at cfpl.org. And if you just can't get enough making, be sure to check out the workshop's full library of maker tools and upcoming classes and events at cfpl.info/workshop. Bye-bye.